been involved in taking direct action against climate change since 2006. Then suddenly fracking comes on the scene. It was sort of known about vaguely abroad, but the idea that it was coming to Britain, it was like, now this is crazy.
It's a process of getting oil out of the ground.
Sussex is the most wooded county in the UK. People live in the woods. People live with nature. They live by nature. These people did not want fracking. They were saying, what about our water wells? So you had this huge critical mass of local people who were against fracking. It didn't matter whether they were a university student, a university lecturer, whether they were someone you spoke to down the pub, or somebody you met in the street, or somebody you worked with. People were against fracking once they knew about it.
All right, let's stand up. Everybody, this is how we do it. Over your head. Throw up a peace sign, put up a fist. No lewd gestures. Wow, this is going to be it's a very wide room.
What I will say, and it really surprised me, or I knew that we were probably on something, is that generally when there's a cause, and I'll be honest here, you have a cause, maybe get together with a friend, you call a meeting, 2 of you turn up, and you spend the meeting discussing how to get more people at your next meeting. But with fracking, it was different. People that had never done activism in their lives were setting up meetings. And so you had the situation where, people were saying, I don't want this to happen.
So this is a letter I sent to Mike Weatherly, my MP for Hove. It's a 2-page letter, as you can see, and his reply was, "Thank you for contacting me again about the above matter. I appreciate your continued interest in this subject." Very detailed response. Basically got a huge folder on my desktop where I bookmark every sort of online article and things that I've read. I've probably spent about at least an hour and a half a day, I would think, since I started getting involved, which has been since probably June. The water that gets used in fracking ends up being so toxic that it actually is removed from the water table completely, and I just do not want to see my daughter growing up in her lifetime where water is something that is no longer a human right, is something that has to be paid for and fought for.
When you are protesting, they're always trying to paint you as the wrong kind of protester. It's like they can't argue with your arguments, so they're going to dish you as an individual, and they do. It's like, oh, these people are crazy, mad, riotous anarchists. Oh, these people are Marxists. So taking tea became something to say, actually, no, I am Middle England, and we can take tea and discuss this. So there was a sense of like creating a forum for debate, taking a space and transforming that space to something other. So you might call us rioters, but if you look at the pictures, we're all sitting down with teacups and saucers in our hands. It's like the old days. I always think of like the Native American Indians. They always have a powwow with the enemy first, and if that doesn't work, then they go into battle. So let's have a cup of tea first, and if that doesn't work, then we riot.
Power to the people, 'cause the people have the power. Tell me, can you feel it? Growing by the hour. Power, 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 power to the people, 'cause the people have the power. Tell me, can you feel it? Growing by the hour. Power, power, power to the people.
I think one of the interesting things about the anti-fracking protesters is that they are arguably a more diverse crowd than some of the traditional climate campaigns we've seen. Partly because of where it's happening, we're talking about kind of very much Middle England, which is not traditionally what you would, the sort of people you would expect to be taking part in environmental protests. It is interesting that it is Middle England as well as like 20-something climate activists.
So I live in Toronto and I want a frack-free future, a frack-free Sussex, a frack-free planet.
I'm Gigi, I'm from Brighton and I want a frack-free future.
We don't need fracking, I'm against fracking.
A frack-free future and a frack-free planet! Woo!
as you saw at Balkan, where they had to hire security, they had to build the fence up, they actually had to stop Cuadrilla, actually had to stop operations. Police had to spend millions on actually policing this. I think that what you could see is the activism just drives the cost up to the point where it borders on being uneconomic. I mean, that remains to be seen, but I think that is probably their best hope for stopping, because the public as a whole seem to be more or less evenly split on this issue.
I think lots of people are hesitant until they know there's a certain amount of information that you need to get, and then once you know that information, you will do something about it. I mean, lots of people are hesitant about campaigning or protesting about anything, to be honest, but I feel like that's starting to change in this country.
To fight the frackers, it's understood that you have to stop it. You're not just stopping it for a day, it's relentless. It's like a 3-month process. It is exhausting.
I think that when people realise that their water supply is under threat and that their immediate local environment is in danger of becoming completely toxic, then they start sitting up and paying attention.
Even more than the air we breathe, the water we drink, that does something to a person. And that's ancient, that's primeval. You don't mess with people's water. You mess with their water, that's war.
What I did find there was a most amazing, diverse group of people of all ages and backgrounds. Lecturers, teachers, scientists, environmental advisors, musicians, artists, builders, students and retired people. So many skills, many had taken time off work to come to the camp and be part of protecting our beautiful village and woodland. Some were from Balkan, others from all over the UK, but what they all had in common was an absolute belief in the environmental catastrophe that would be allowing fracking in the UK. They created together a most beautiful, peaceful, clean, organised, safe camp. This was not what I had expected. How easy it is to abuse others from afar, often anonymously, but how much more kind, dignified and human to meet and listen and learn.